Welcome to the Design Build Institute of America's Design Build Delivers podcast. I'm Kim Wright at DBIA's national headquarters. So here we are again, yet another COVID new year. But you know what? In spite of it all, there is a lot to look forward to in 2022. And that's what we're focusing on today. Not only are there historic opportunities ahead thanks to incredible new infrastructure investment, but market research shows design build is positioned to see impressive growth across all sectors and regions through 2025. Today, we'll talk to FMI analyst Paul Trombitas with the latest market data, focusing on what design build teams can expect over the next few years. It's an exciting time for our industry. We hope you can put this intel to work for your teams. And also, we want to offer a special thanks to US CAD for partnering with us in 2022 to bring you this year's episodes of Design Build Delivers. Thank you, Paul, for joining us. We can talk about research that you've just released at FMI and talking about design build and the market. And again, it's more good news for the design build industry, right?
Absolutely. And you know, Kim, it's been awesome just over this past year and all the research that we've conducted on design build. I've just been amazed at the number of conversations that I've had with owners, with contractors, with trade contractors, architects, engineers, on the volume of opportunity and just the majority of projects going towards design build. And we see it in the numbers. We look at just the pure volume of work. And the past couple of years have been a kind of a unique situation with COVID and just the overall market. But as the overall market saw a little bit of a dip through 20 and recovering more in 2021, design build fared even better than the overall market. And as that percentage of construction that's going towards design build continued to increase, it enabled design build and just the utilization of the method to continue to increase. And we see just the growth continuing, and from everything we've seen and all the folks that we've talked to, it doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. So indeed, just very favorable results, and we're excited to see what happens moving forward.
When you first took a look at design build's market growth, you know, we made the case, what we kind of knew anecdotally, but really didn't have the research to back it up, is that, you know, we're not really an alternative delivery method anymore. When you're delivering at that point, you know, 44%, and now it's even more. I mean, we're up to 47%. I mean, nearly half of construction dollars are design build. I mean, that's we're way past anecdotal at this point. We are not alternative. Design build is here to stay, right?
That's absolutely correct. And you look at the numbers, and certainly no shortage of opportunity for design build spending. Exactly as you mentioned, we're going to see as much as 47, even over potentially 47% through our forecast period into 2025. And certainly don't see that slowing down at all. And it really boils down to owners are looking for a better way to deliver their projects. They want a more collaborative approach. They want the experts in the industry to bring them that innovation, those unique solutions to address their increasingly challenging and complex projects. And design build just enables that to such a great degree that we see just continued growth, and we don't expect to see anything but positive growth over the next certainly through that forecast period.
Tell me a little bit, what were some of the high marks for you, the things that you saw this go around that you think are particularly important for teams and organizations as they look to the future? I mean, I know you've looked at a variety of different things, from sectors to even use of progressive. For you, what were the high marks? What jumped out to you as being really the key things people need to remember about this last round of research?
Great question. So it's a couple different things. What stood out to me, and one of the things we really focused on and wanted to better understand is design build's ability to achieve design excellence. And that was a question kind of floating around in our minds. And is design build able to achieve design excellence? And certainly it is. From the folks that we talk to, from architects, engineers, contractors, owners, yes, the answer is yes. And it really boils down to three key areas. And what was really great to hear about it is, you have that early involvement, you have clear definition, you have team alignment. So design excellence really is dependent on an owner's definition of design excellence. So every owner is going to vary a little bit in what they think is design excellence. One might be a beautiful building. Another is going to be sustainability. Another might be security. It really depends on the owner and the ability to get in early, define that with the owner, really understand their key areas of success or critical factors for that project. Design build enables all of that. And so, when we ask the question about does design build enable the ability to achieve design excellence, the answer is simple, is yes, because of that early involvement, defining and having that clear definition, and really having true team alignment. The other area that was particularly interesting to me is we wanted to understand delivery methods, encouragement of MWDBE participation. And when we asked the market what their perception was, it came back and they see design build as encouraging, or the delivery method that encourages the greatest MWDBE participation. So you think about involving firms earlier in the process, it enables greater flexibility for partner selection, and really it supports and fosters an increased MWDBE participation. And as the industry continues to focus and prioritize those inclusivity efforts, design build is the method that enables that to the greatest extent, which I think personally is awesome, and really another key factor of what makes design build such a great delivery method. And then the other, you mentioned progressive design build. It was really interesting to see, and in the 2018 study, we certainly heard evolution of use of progressive design build as a procurement approach, but this time around, it really stood out. I mean, we saw particularly water, wastewater. I mean, that's an industry that gained significant popularity. They're trying to figure out the science, the treatment technology. At the same time, they're trying to figure out price, and they've really developed a deep understanding of how to effectively use progressive design build. We see particularly on the aviation, airport construction, and we also see it manufacturing, education, commercial. It's just continuing to evolve as a procurement approach for design build that's being utilized to a much greater extent. There's a lot more knowledge in the market of how to use it, when it's appropriate to be utilized, and we certainly continue to see that being a bright spot as well. I think those three areas were really kind of top of mind for me. And the last point that I wanted to really touch on was we've seen a ton of growth. We want to understand, not only from an owner's perspective, but also the industry. How is the level of satisfaction with utilizing design build, and how does that compare really to other methods? And what was awesome to see is 75% of respondents in our survey indicated they had an excellent or very good experience with design build. That was quite a bit above all the other delivery methods. And that ability to select the best fit team that has the capabilities, the expertise, and really aligns best with the project was one of the big key drivers of that positive experience. And we think about the education process as the delivery method has been utilized to a much greater extent on projects of all sizes. At University of Washington, they have the new legislation where they're enabled to use design build on projects less than $1 million. I think it was 500,000. So that education process and really understanding how to utilize design build for a company's program, for their projects, it takes commitment, takes alignment on what that needs to look like. And we've certainly seen that evolution in owners really understanding how to effectively employ and deliver projects via design build.
It also gets to that point of the satisfaction. What's driving that satisfaction? What are the benefits that owners are seeing that is all driving? Every bit of that is driving the growth. I mean, what is it that owners are seeing that you think is making design build stand out for them as the delivery method of choice?
Sure. So when we look at the factors that are influencing owners to determine what delivery method to utilize, the project complexity and innovation, delivery schedule, those continue to be top of mind. And just think of the environment we're operating in now. Projects are more complex. Schedules are being increasingly expedited. There's so many different and new factors that are coming into consideration that has made the environment a lot more complicated than it was. And the ability for a firm to get in early, understand those challenges, what the owner needs to have a successful project, it really lends itself well to design build. And we asked the market, what are those factors that influence your selection of delivery method? And as I mentioned, the top were project complexity, the need for innovation, delivery schedule. And then when we asked, how well does design build fare on across those factors, over 50% of respondents indicated, and these are owner respondents, indicated that design build exceeded their expectations. So not only did they meet expectations, but they significantly went above that. And then we kind of drilled down a little bit more into what are the real benefits that owners, that firms in the market are associating with design build. And when we really drilled down into that, it was increased collaboration and creativity. It was more opportunities to innovate and ability to fast track projects. So those benefits align with what owners are looking for and what's most important in their selection of a project delivery method align perfectly. And I mean, that just continues to drive the use of design build forward and enable what we're seeing in the market and having those conversations that design build is just continuing to grow.
Are you looking to break away from legacy techniques and seize new competitive differentiators? USCAD helps forward-thinking AEC firms, many ranking on ENR top lists, generate new revenue streams by shifting to Autodesk AEC technology. To learn more, book a free 30-minute consultation at uscad.com/DBIA. That's uscad.com/DBIA.
Well, and I think it's important too to note that this research was done before we had infrastructure investment package passed. We saw in 2009 that design build, even at that age, was a good while ago, played a vital role in delivering those projects. And if you're talking about what owners needing to do, fast track and innovate and collaborate and communicate, that's going to be on steroids when we start getting trillions of dollars to spend in infrastructure investment.
That was something, even how at this point it's 5+ years ago. Well, we looked at how does design build fare when there's an increase in funding, particularly at the federal level. And certainly what we heard is it enables owners in the public space to capture those federal dollars quicker. They don't have to put out a design, wait a year, and then bid it out. They can capture those dollars all at one time for the complete design package, for the construction package. And so it just further enables owner to get greater capital for their projects. So not only is it being identified as a better way to deliver projects, it's also a way that owners can capture dollars quicker, particularly in an environment where we're going to see a lot more available funding for owners. So it just, that coincides really well with the market growth. And we didn't factor in the growth based on the passage of a significant infrastructure bill. So, we're saying 7.5% annual growth rate over the next 5 years. That could be dramatically increased as we see this package moving forward, and owners really pushing hard to get those federal dollars in place and moving forward on breaking ground on projects.
And so many of the markets that we were seeing growth in, even when we don't talk about infrastructure investment, they do tend to be those heavy infrastructure type sectors. I mean, we're markets, highway and street. And I think those were markets that we were already anticipating growth in anyway, right? What were the markets that you anticipated seeing the growth most?
Yeah, it was a combination. I mean, we really see growth across several of the segments, but what stand out to me is highway, street. That is always a substantial market volume wise, and it's going to continue to be that way. In particular, that market is very heavy users of design build, for lack of a better term. They've adopted it, and for me, I think transportation related, and I'm including highway and street in the transportation related segments, it's exciting because that evolution of use of design build, it's really become the go-to delivery method. We see several of the major DOTs using design build. In some cases, up to 75% of their capital projects are going design build. I mean, that's amazing. Speaking with the folks in the manufacturing segment, that to me, we consistently hear design build enables them significant advantage because to them, speed to market is absolutely critical. And so design build, the ability to deliver projects quicker, to meet those rigorous quality standards, puts design build really at the forefront. And then on the commercial space, given that where we are in the market and a lot more folks are working from home and not going out nearly as much, we have this huge boom in distribution and warehousing facilities, and they need to be built quick. And the ability that design build enables these projects to be delivered quicker just continues to push that market forward as well. And I like to think, even as a subsegment within manufacturing, we have food and beverage, and these projects, to them, speed to market, as I mentioned earlier, is just critical. And the first processors to market can capture up to 70% of the marketplace. So they need to get these facilities delivered. And just speaking with folks in that marketplace, design build is the go-to top of mind method to enable them to be better and capture more market share with their processes. And then certainly see heavy, strong growth in water wastewater. We saw the previous study, and we just continue to see that growing and being a bright spot as well. We're going to see pretty significant growth there. I think over 10% in the water wastewater space. So I think that combination, you have transportation, highway, street, water, wastewater, the commercial side, manufacturing, the combination, they're all growing and they all have unique needs that design build, the flexibility enables them to deliver on.
One thing we haven't talked about yet is regions. We've seen historically over time, early adopters, the West has certainly, been heavy in design build for a long period of time, but we are seeing growth in other places too. And certainly as these infrastructure dollars flow nationwide, you, I guess, would expect to see growth pretty broadly spread out potentially.
So certainly to your point, Kim, across the regions, we see that the heaviest volume or the largest volume in the South Atlantic, the Pacific, and the West, South, Central. And you think about the South Atlantic and the Pacific, they've really maintained prominence in design build utilization. They have public owners in those regions. They utilize design build to a great extent. The private owners, they've developed a really strong foundation of of how to successfully employ and deliver design build for their projects. Where I think you touched on is where we're seeing even more growth is in areas where design build hasn't historically been a high percentage of the volume of construction spending. And in particular, the Middle Atlantic, we've seen a strong uptick in the use of design build in New York, particularly as the public owners have made a significant push there for design build utilization. And we're also seeing even greater use in the Northeast, a lot more adoption and continued utilization of design build in that space. And what's really interesting is seeing across the board for all the regions, all of them are going to experience an annual growth rate of 6% or higher. So that's pretty significant. And so even the regions where they haven't had particularly high volumes or even a high percentage of design build spending, those are all going to continue to grow. And we're seeing greater evidence and continued adoption and utilization just across the board, across all regions. So one thing that I wanted to make sure that we talked about, and kind of going back to the experience with utilizing design build, and something I touched on was that education process and how important that is in achieving a positive experience with design build. And so gaining experience and knowledge of the process takes that time, it takes commitment, it takes alignment on what is needed and really the resources to achieve success. And so what was really interesting to see for us is we looked at the number of projects a participant had performed related design build projects they've been involved with. So those folks that had done one or two design build projects, they had rated their experience being very good or excellent 46% of the time. Now we kind of fast track it to folks that have worked on 20 or more design build project. Their level of satisfaction, the percentage they rated excellent or very good, was nearly 90%. So just keeping in mind that education process and understanding how to effectively utilize it just the level of satisfaction increases significantly as they go through the process, know how to use it effectively on various types of projects, whether it's a small project or a large project or a highly complex project or it's a time sensitive project. It really depends on the owner and their goals and what they're trying to achieve. And design build can be applied to any project. It really comes down and boils down to what that owner is trying to achieve and how design best addresses their needs and critical success factors.
Which is the perfect segue to a pitch for design build done right, because the bottom line is you can say you're doing design build, but we've seen plenty of design build done wrong over the decades, and design build done right allows you to be trained, find out how to best capitalize on the tools and resources that others in the business have already mastered, and increase the likelihood that you're going to be successful and satisfied. And I think that's kind of what I sense we're seeing in the industry, that things are starting to build and grow. And as you get more successful teams who become more successful, there we go.
You know what I wanted to bring this up. So at the national conference during the presentation at the end, there was the Q&A session, and somebody asked, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here and ask, why aren't we seeing higher growth and a higher percentage of design build use? And I was thinking devil's advocate, he was going to say lower. And his argument was, I think there should be more growth. There should be more use of design build. And it gets back to the point you just made, Kim, and that, the design build done right, that is an education process in understanding how to really effectively utilize it. It takes commitment by an organization. It needs to be a strategic priority to really do it right. And I think that was one of the arguments that another member of the audience made is we don't have, or the education process just needs to be there and needs to take place. And even at the nearly 50%, there's still a significant runway that can continue to be increased. And it just kind of comes back to that education and making sure that folks really understand how to utilize it effectively.
All right. Well, thank you, Paul. This is awesome. I mean, the research is certainly exciting for our industry. And I think it will really, we do have the potential for changing the way America builds. And that's exciting, especially going into this post-COVID era where everybody's looking for something to celebrate.
That's right. That's right. Well, my pleasure. And Kim, thanks so much for having me. I love this stuff. So I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited about the results and what we're seeing in the industry and just the volume of opportunity in the growth outlook for design build. And it's a tribute to what you all have done at DBIA and made such great progress over the years. And I think just a testament to everything you all have done and everybody in the market has really done to push the method forward.
Thanks again to FMI's Paul Trombitas for joining us. If you haven't already, you can find the full research on DBIA's website at dbia.org/impact. And again, a hearty welcome and thank you to our new team member, USCAD, for their support of Design Build Delivers. Find out more at uscad.com/DBIA.